I ain't even gonna do no open. The multi-millionaires in the marijuana business. We gonna open like that, man. Pops twist, man. Y'all didn't even know, man. Y'all didn't know. See, y'all thought that I was a king, man. But I want to introduce y'all to somebody who's very important in my life, somebody who actually helped me get through so much, as you should know. Hey, I got my name from this guy here. So welcome, Miss Sulu. We'll give you a little bit of conversation, but I'm trying to see. When sharing via a YouTube live, does it actually um, allow me to turn the camera off, or is it camera on only? And so I could look at it here and see if that works. Let me see. It says edit right here. I tried using this one time and time again, I tell you, but I can never actually figure out how to make this one work. So let me see. You don't have access to that feature. You don't have access to that feature. What I can see is I see the mic and I see edit. What is that? Okay, customize, public visibility, thumbnail. I can add the thumbnail. Paid promotions. Whoa. See, I didn't even know. Like, see, some of y'all know stuff I don't know. See, paid promotions. I could probably turn on AdSense. That's what they be talking about. With once you get to 1,000 folks, you could turn on like other features and such. That's crazy. So yeah. Welcome, Pops.
Hey, thank you for being here today. How y'all doing?
So, Pops, I'll show you like look, chat disconnected. Oh, they try to successfully connected. So if anybody starts chatting with us, we'll probably see that pop up right here. And that's about as much as I can say. But yeah. Nancy Pelosi, I thought she was the powerhouse, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody typically says, what does the Congressional Black Caucus, what is the Black agenda? And so when I saw marijuana decriminalization as one of their top items, I thought that was a good segue. So anyway, California, though, she's lost, though. She took a major L.
Hey. I don't know what's going on with the House because I ain't kept up with it, but they was trying to address national decriminalization. And it should be decriminalized because you got too many multi-millionaires that's now in the, as a matter of fact, I got stopped doing good every day.
Right.
Do good every day. So you got all these multi-millionaires selling with pharmaceutical marijuana, and they're getting richer. And everybody should think back, you know, the drug dealers never got richer, just got locked up. But with the decriminalization of it, that doesn't take away control. That doesn't take away, i.e., what they got now, buzz driving is illegal. Mm-hmm. Except for, I really like to know how a police officer can just pull you over.
Cookie test.
Hold up the Oreo. Let me go for the Oreo.
The police have now, they get no more guns. We're going to take all the guns. Or we're going to get police officers as cookies. And that's the new test.
Well, you got me if you hold up oatmeal raisins. You got
right,
me.
You got me.
You got me.
People spitting on themselves. Just got me. He just depend on me. Pullovers. We're not locking you up for that. Man, I'm going to just, what a QR code. I mean, give me your phone. Put my number in your phone.
Any real marijuana smokers know once the police threw the light on you, high went. So right. Trying to say that you were buzz driving. I lost my eye many times while driving in a heartbeat.
They might as well automatic deduct that little $25 ticket and save themselves the court and administration fees, expedite that one. Because the level of control is now super fast and automated. And so even the jurisdiction process, I noticed that in the court of law, they can arrange jurisdiction by internet. And so if it's only for a citation in the first place, then tele-jurisdiction is already a service they're providing. So decriminalization on a national level is already something it's there, it's capable. It's still the due process of the law that they have to come up against. What happens when people do want their day in court? Can they argue against jurisdiction of the internet?
Probably so. Everything new has possibility of being challenged. That's what Donald Trump did. He challenged everything, just challenge it. He don't care if you win.
Right. Right. Put him on the books.
Can I get to the Supreme Court on this issue?
Right. Right.
See, except for the rest of us, I want y'all to know it probably take about 8 to 10, sometimes 15 years when you get to the Supreme Court sometimes, okay?
Right. They act like they didn't know like the LGBTQ community had a case at the Supreme Court level. And so when they won, everybody's like, oh, look at the gay agenda. We're like, what? How is this new to you? Where have you been since Harvey Milk? California was not freaking playing with these people. Oh, hey, Queen Cascade 2.0 salute. She said, "Wagwan Pops."
How y'all doing?
See now we gotta really keep it a buck with you all. Let's say Leonard De Yuda. This sounds like from the tribe of Judah, so they almost like going into you. They think you Jamaican, Pops. Pops was your granddad. How far back in your life? Who's the oldest family member that you had access to?
Just my grandparents. No great grandparents.
Like how? So I know you're way back in the 50s. So that would have been the 60s. That in the 60s where you had the most access to your grandparents.
Yeah. I was raised by my granddaddy, grandmother. Maternal grandparents visited from out here from the West Coast at least every 2 years. So I got to see Papa Henry, Mama Lucille, and that's the highest. But we got a great history, great history. My grandmother's history, she kept, they actually did the black and white photos and stuff.
Right.
So she had Papa Silas and all of them. Oh, that's my dear. That's your mom. That's your dad. Wait a minute. Her daddy name was Silas too. Silas
See,
Bradford.
you don't be
Silas Bradford.
See, I ain't even heard of the Bradford side yet.
That's he was Silas. We have to add some material. But they got the Bradfords, and they come to find out that my grandmother, she was in the second set of kids. So they had a lot of women, female daughters. And we come from the hills. They came from the hills. And she had a lot of older sisters. Because this one lady, we call her Auntie. She was like already like 90 years old when we were little kids.
Right.
I remember her, right? And that was like one of her older sisters.
Right, and if she was 90, that means she was born in like 1860. At minimum, if she was 90 and you were in the 60s, and we're talking about the 60s.
My grandfather was born in 1910. So Deacon James came from Mississippi, Greenville, with clothes on his back. And I guess my grandmother's daddy was giving away daughters like on sale at Kmart.
What the hell does that mean?
He was giving them away like they was on sale. You need a wife, boy.
Wait, you need a wife. You need a wife.
Hey, boy, you need a wife. You need a wife. You need a wife. You need a wife. You need a wife.
See, and that's looked at as a problem now. Shame. The black man is only supposed to have 2.5 kids.
And you know this one guy, this famous gospel song out of Texas, Charles Williams. That's my grandfather's nephew that made that record out of Texas. And that's his brother is in Texas. But I had both of my aunts went to the Army. His sisters went to the Army. They was the brains of the family. They got out the army and invested in property.
Right. Do you remember where?
Louisiana. My Aunt Frona used to run all the dive joints.
Oh Lord, I thought I came from good stock.
Yeah, that is good stuff. You go up in Aunt Frona and shoot you.
So in Louisiana, the dive joint is good stock. You know, today that's frowned upon.
You can't even find a dive joint anymore.
It's down.
Matter of fact, they got very few clubs in Louisiana. I mean, you know, the major cities, but not Shreveport.
Are they trying to turn it to like a dry state or something?
No. Disco clubs and stuff. I mean, clubs faded out. Like in Monroe, Louisiana, is my biggest city, right?
Right.
So
I always thought it was Shreveport until I got to
the
Monroe.
last club. I mean, my biggest city for where I was near.
Okay.
You know, and they used to have, they still, might have the little bitty bar here or there, but nothing that's like where you used to go. We used to go party and all of that stuff like that. All those, somebody burnt most of them down too. They burnt them down in Monroe.
Wow.
Matter of fact, and didn't rebuild, and nobody even bought the property.
That radical Bible Belt. I said none of this juke joint and jiving, trucking and diving around.
When the kids start shooting each other and stuff.
Oh yeah, so yeah. I wonder, was that a black woman or a black man who finally had enough and said, "Man, we're going to turn this down."
And so it's easy in Louisiana. Places like Louisiana, you don't need the commission. The law just shut it down.
Correct.
And then they burnt it down. That way, y'all can't go next Saturday night.
Right.
But you won't use this one no more.
But that still seems like it's like that fight, that part of the fight is where good and evil or what's right or wrong or what's should be done or what ought not be done. It's, I don't know, like it's hard to negotiate.
I'm going to give people a history, being from the country.
Mm-hmm.
The little town where I grew up, somebody got shot, stabbed, cut, choked out, choked to death. At least every week somebody died. So what y'all saying these kids doing, they do less now than what they did when I was coming up.
Right.
Because think about it, somebody got shot or stabbed to death every week because we had all those little juke joints, all the little joints.
Right.
And sometimes it'd be about 10 of them, and all of them made out of shotgun houses, mostly.
Right.
And they done did an add-on.
One way through.
You did an add-on with that 1 panel wall with no sheetrock.
So the shotgun house is just one way through, right?
Yeah.
Straight from the front door through the back door.
It turned into a juke joint and then put the gambling in the back.
That's right.
And so whereas, we watch somebody die every week. Whereas we just had, a shooting in the Heights. And the last one was like maybe, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. But see, everybody focuses on, it's people still talking about when Fat Rat got shot.
The baseball coach?
Yeah.
Right. I focus on Fat Rat too because that was when I was coming up.
That was the shooting in the Heights.
Right. But that hurt us because we were the ones who played baseball on that league. That youth baseball league, that one fell off.
But we had after that. Oh, they had the gang fight not too long ago, and the boy got shot.
He got shot and killed or just shot?
He got shot and he died. Damn. He drove himself to the hospital.
Damn.
3 or 4 weeks ago. I had never seen a gang fight at Grant at the basketball game. They said this guy, and the guy that shot him said they had got into it earlier. And the little boy put a gun on, and the young one put a gun on the older one. Well, I guess when they got in the fight, the older one saw a chance to shoot him.
Right.
Because there's 20-some people fighting. But again, these are far
the fights. I didn't have a problem with the fights. Like
these are far and in between.
So we remember when we used to have the football fights. The football team, of course. but they didn't always spill onto
That's
the
against
field.
the other team.
Right, against the other. That's what I'm trying to say. And then, like, sometimes it spills outside. Like, we recently saw the UVA in Virginia, they had the similar case as well, where inter-team they were fighting. But at Grant, you said it happened recently, like 3 weeks ago.
About 3 weeks ago.
Right. See,
Me
I
and
didn't even
we
get
were
that
sitting
news.
at the house.
That's not something that I even get alerts on.
You know, we sitting at the house and all you keep hearing the ambulance and stuff going, and stuff going on. But the funny thing, it must have been one shot because I never heard the shot. And so, anyway, that next morning, listening to the news.
Yeah.
But these things are far and in between. I grew up in violence. And I'm from the country. You know where the house is? One house is right here. Go another mile, another house is right there. That's why we always met up. All of us met up to them little juke junk balls and killed each other. We were so scattered.
Right.
I can't speak on the city because I ain't never been in no big major city where there's a bunch of crime.
Right. Where they're just stacked
You know,
up.
we don't have. I mean, the whole area we done lived in, you grew up in, there was not no real violent crime going on. I mean, we made the news. You know, they had the little shooting on 12th Street. That's again.
I had a dream about that too.
Again, the old gangsters. Not old gangsters, but middle-aged gangsters from Del Paso Heights. That's was bullied from the get-go. So they had a beef with this other from the South, and for some reason everybody knew somebody was gonna be partying down on 12th Street.
Oh, we know. We know when it goes down because it'd be like Facebook too, where they send like the promotions, and once it turns into certain seasons. Like in y'all generation, when y'all got down on Valentine's Day, y'all produced a lot of Scorpios. And so that just kept happening. So the promoters nowadays, they know when it's like Leo season or when it, and they start going harder on Facebook or Instagram, TikTok. And so they'll start promoting and getting it built up for those one major venues. And yeah.
What's the purpose of 40 to 60 some shots all over the place? Y'all was shooting at 2 people, and 2 people were shooting at y'all.
But at that point, they like if they gonna do it, they gonna make the news one way or the other. So they just went on and did it all the way out.
Walked up and shot. How the contract to kill them next
time? They thought they were the contract.
Hey, they contracting in prison when they trial them.
Right, and the middle class family still suffers because in Sacramento they ask why would you go home or why wouldn't you go home? And it would be the same thing. It's still the answer for what? Like no matter, like, I don't know, like I don't experience a lot of crime even right here. And you see that one story that'd be on Channel 12. And then you get back to the hood and then it's still just the same scattered churches, the same, it gets up to a little exciting moment where it might be a revival, it feels like, in the community, and it just kind of dies down. But it's not a super crime lit area. There's not, like, when they even think of like gang violence, it's not so.
Somebody made the comment.
How do you say that?
That especially with Fox News, right? They always showing all this violence, people getting beat up in subways, stuff like that, from the Democratic states. It said so. Ain't nobody in the blue states killing each other.
None. None in the red, just only in the blue, just in the very blue part. And
the red state, whatever it is, y'all.
Just flip the coin. It's all the same.
But
same gang though. Gang mentality, if you ask me. That's their way of trivializing it. Wait, now that I got an OG, I would be omiss to say your opinion on the black and white dichotomy. And then the other one was we were talking about earlier. The black and white dichotomy. Should the church be separate? Like the traditional versus like mega church? So the black and white dichotomy, like is it where are we with that? What are your thoughts on like everything being in black and white, or are we super accepting of are we too accepting? Like what are your thoughts on black and white?
I can't because we got people say we got these big time people said, there is no racism in America. There is no discrimination in America. There's no prejudice in America. And as the Mexicans, none of them are being racist or prejudiced again because they all Republicans.
That's how they sum it all up.
Sum it all up.
And they're dreaming if they think they can get an education in America.
So when they killed all them little kids at that school down there, y'all do know they was predominantly Hispanic.
Right.
They don't say nothing about that. The ones that was hiding behind the wall with their guns and vests on. Now, us is say if it had been a white school,
right,
they'd read up in there and shot him. Simple as that.
Right. I see where you're going.
Who disagree with that? That many men with vests on. First of all, they was untrained. I tried to tell y'all can't expect Andy Griffith and Gomer Pyle.
Andy Griffith and Gomer Pyle to be your community security.
The most trouble they had was when Billy Bob stabbed Jesse the other night down at the Country and Western bar.
Well, damn, Jesse, what you stab him for?
And that happened 3 years ago.
Damn.
That's the most action they ever seen. These people don't know what to do with a shootout.
Right.
Even though y'all said, well, they had just been sent. Let me tell y'all about these little training they have. They sit us in classes all day. You put in your 16 or whatever hours of training, and then you go back to your unit. Ain't no hands-on where this actually happened, and you can't tell a human being how to react when Billy Bob said he had to go back to the grocery store. Didn't y'all see First Blood? What is that? Rambo. Y'all see Rambo? I got to go back to the grocery store, Jesse. He ain't gonna get killed over nothing like that.
I mean, well, my heart goes out to people not knowing. So Hispanic, that's white to me. Where you call it Spanish and even Mexican. When you go like into Mexican, are we saying that Mexican is a race? Latino is a race? I wouldn't even consider them a race.
Look, they doing them like they did us. They didn't know what.
Right, that's where we always get it wrong.
You got Cuban.
You should make somebody stand on that.
You got Mexican. You got actual Spanish. So
never spoken in Spanish.
And then the sad part is you got the ones now that they done finally become great Americans that they discriminate against the ones that are not immigration.
Right.
Will somebody please tell Critical Race Thinking that how many millions of whites, which y'all call found America, except for all them 100 million Indians that was already here. I guess they didn't know where they were.
They were lost.
They were lost.
Lost savages.
They were lost.
And dumb. They didn't want to own the land. You don't want to own none of this.
They didn't.
You said I can have this.
They didn't.
You said I can have it.
You know, they had gold mines in Georgia, right? When they migrated to Georgia. So it was illegal for the Indians and blacks that already owned plantations back then. Throw y'all ends on something. Had backfields, all that kind of stuff. It was illegal for them to mine their own gold.
Who let y'all write that down?
When the United States with the British, they made their own militia.
Mm-hmm.
And then they used their own militia and what they call them 13 colonies to rule everybody else.
Right.
And then, and y'all know how it became the United States, right? Because everything past the 13 colonies was Indian territory. Well, they had the Indians signed a treaty that they could have everything west of the Mississippi all the way to the Pacific Ocean. But they had to get up out of here.
Right.
You got to leave east of the Mississippi.
Right.
Trail of Tears, everybody like to call this stuff and all that.
Right. So we heard about the Florida Trail of Tears, and then I was looking at the one where Cherokee, the capital of Cherokee, moved from like
Keep
south
them all out of Kentucky and everything.
yeah, all the way, that little part. And now they're over Oklahoma too as well, right?
So they don't tell you much about the Northwest Territory. That's
And the Dakotas, that was
Territory.
the Dakotas too. They had big kangaroo court where he was the breeder. There was his own kids that
They sent all the Indians and told them they could have everything west of Mississippi until the 13 colonies grew to the Mississippi River and then said, well, we got boats.
Right.
Right. But the millions and millions of immigrants.
oh, and the freaking
came
steamship.
over, the millions and millions of immigrants came over and settled the United States, and we're talking European immigrants. And the funny thing about all of this is there were townships established already. One of the biggest townships up in the Northwest Indian Territory is up there on the, I think it's the Columbus or Ohio River or something. Like that. They had actual buildings and everything, adobes and stuff. And that was burned out by General Harrison, President Harrison, when he became president. He became president. But when he was general, he was in charge of the Northwest Territory, and Andrew Jackson was in charge of the Southwest Territory. And that's how Andrew Jackson became filthy rich.
Which is why we only hear about the Trail of Tears Andrew Jackson line. We didn't hear about the one
up north
to the what did you say?
They burnt. I mean, they used to have townships. That's what people don't get. They show you these westerns with these little teepees and all of that and all of that. And
Rock Newman tried to show it from the Seminole perspective as well.
Oh, the Seminoles was an established community. Now you know that, right? Because they took out the Spaniards.
What about the Moors? Any truth in that? Is that an actual, or is that going too far?
No, that's European history.
That is okay.
Hannibal and the Moors crossed into Rome.
Right, because what I saw from Mark Twain when they made us study the white side. Not made us, but once I got old enough to realize, okay, now why was they telling me to read Mark Twain and William Shakespeare? And so that was basically saying, study these Europeans. And once I started studying where they lived, well, they were the ones who were responsible for moving that communication, I'll just say it this way, from Connecticut all the way across the face of Springfield Rifle, to Hannibal. And that's how you get across that river now. And so we can get our blues up from Mississippi and Louisiana. We can get all the way up there now to Kansas City and Ohio, and we can get to Junction City, and we can get the Buffalo Soldiers all the way over. But what message are we going to spread when we get there?
What message?
Anyway, y'all got about 30 minutes with us, man. And I'm B1 Brother Moses, and salute. Man, if that affirms anything for anybody, man, we go back all the way into as far back as you want to go. People can look at these conversations for what they are.
Get into politics.
What about land ownership?
Get into land ownership. You got to own.
You picking apples?
I'm not picking apples though.
Lettuce?
No lettuce.
You picking none of that?
I ain't going to nobody. I picked cotton when I was coming up. I'm not going back out there.
Okay. What else?
Latinos, you got my vote.
Keep dreaming.
Go on out there and pick as much as you want.
I still see life in black and white. Not everybody will be able to do that. While I could be accepting that this is a whole Pan-African and diasporic experience that's inclusive of so many different variations of blackness, I understand that the real story of blackness is bloodline. And so today you got the Pops Twist, unfiltered, and it goes as far back as you want it to go. Study who you study under, read what you want to read, learn from what you want to learn. But personally, we have our own story. And today I shared with you a little bit of mine. And so now, if there's one thing that I can leave you with here today, they thought I was the king. I would want to do a part 2 on this so my pops could tell you about Florida. But he might not want to go to Florida. But there's a woman named Miss Velma Strong. And his relationship
All the way to Florida
with this woman named Miss Velma Strong. And there's also another story that's undercurring about when the men from Chicago came to Sacramento. And there was already the men from Oakland who came to Sacramento. And so my dad being, transplant himself, right, Louisiana, and marrying my mom, and we're military brats as far up as you've heard in the 80s and such. Man, that would be a great part 2. But my key takeaway is, man, spend time with your dad, man. And what did he say? Black dads matter. And if nobody else wants to agree, then nobody else has to. But black dads matter. That's B1 Brother Moses. They may not get this content anywhere else. They may smear it and use sound bites. They may take my little face, take my pops. But they can never take our freedom. They can take
Be free. I was on the Amistad.
I was on Amistad. I know where my people come from. I'm free. Little dumb ass boy. Fuck wrong with you? Nancy Pelosi, that's a white woman. Oh, she real powerful though. She took her L. Stop talking about that white woman. Stop talking about that white woman. That's my good. Y'all know these white people like we know these allies and allies. All right, man, 30 minutes. Hey, look, the B1 Network founder, grown woman vibes and salute. That's all we got and we out. Anything after that, you know me, I'm going to start teaching.
Okay.
So we good. Peace and salute.
Peace. Good. Secret light on that.
Right, because I was